Hi everyone, and thank you for taking the time today to join me. I know this time of year is pretty full on for people in bookkeeping and accounting, so I appreciate you taking half an hour out of your day to be here. My name is Tom, the owner of ROVR Outsourcing. Over the last few years, I've worked with a range of companies, including bookkeeping and accounting businesses, helping them find smarter ways to grow without burning out or losing control. Today's session isn't a sales pitch. It's about sharing what's actually working for small and medium-sized businesses right now, especially with all the pressure on capacity, staffing, and margins. My goal is simple. By the end of this talk, I want you to walk away with a few practical ideas you can use straight away, whether you're looking to scale up, free up your time, or just get a bit more breathing room in your week. I'll share some real stories and things I've learned the hard way over the years of experience. So hopefully you don't have to go through the same trial and error I did. Just a quick heads up, even though this session is pre-recorded, I'm actually here live in the chat while it's playing. So if you've got any questions, thoughts, you want to share your own experience, just drop a comment in the chat and I'll jump in here as we go. Let's start with a quick reality check, because I hear this from business owners every week. Right now, more than 60% of small businesses in Australia are struggling with cash flow issues, and around 75% of accounting and bookkeeping businesses say they're having major challenges recruiting and keeping good people. So you've got more client demand, tighter margins, and fewer hands on deck. And let's be honest, no business owner ever wants to turn away work. When you're already stretched, sometimes you just don't have the capacity to say yes, even when the opportunity is there. I was chatting with a bookkeeper recently who told me she'd started turning away new leads because she didn't have any more capacity. If any of that sounds familiar, you're definitely not alone. This is the reality for so many bookkeeping and accounting businesses right now, and it's why we need to look at things differently. So let's break down what's really making life tough for bookkeeping and accounting businesses right now. Finding and keeping good people. Your team is always stretched thin, and it's hard to cover when someone's away. Margins keep shrinking and costs just keep creeping up. Admin and compliance work seems to eat up more and more work every week, leaving less time for work that actually grows the business. And for a lot of you, if the work just keeps coming in, you're good at what you do, you almost never have to advertise. Referrals and word of mouth mean the work just floods in. Sounds like a great problem to have, but it can actually make things even tougher. Suddenly you're saying no to good clients, or you're working even longer hours just to keep up. And when you add that all together, it's no wonder so many business owners are feeling burnt out or stuck. None of these issues are about a lack of skill or effort. They're actually about capacity. Too much work, not enough hands, and not enough time. I have the same challenges every week, and I've been there myself. So what do most businesses try to do when things get overwhelming? Often the first instinct is to try and hire someone locally. And sometimes that's exactly the right move, especially if you need someone in the office or you've got the budget for it. But at certain stages of a business, hiring locally just isn't realistic. Maybe you can't quite afford another full-time salary, or you can only offer part-time hours and can't find the right fit. That's where offshoring can really make a difference. For the same cost as one local hire, you can bring in 3 to 4 skilled people offshore. So you can cover more ground, get more done, and keep your local team focused on what they do best. And for some of you, maybe you've already got a few local people on board, but the money just isn't there to bring in that next one. Offshoring lets you add capacity really quickly, and if you systemize your process, it takes a lot of the headaches out of onboarding and training. The other thing I see is businesses taking on more clients, thinking the extra revenue will help. But if you don't have the right systems in place, it just adds more chaos. And then there's the admin and the compliance work that never seems to end. You know you need proper systems and SOPs, but who's got the time to sit around and write them for every single process? I talk to business owners all the time who say it feels like they're just treading water, working flat out but never really getting ahead. I was there myself not that long ago. So let me ask you, what are you feeling the pinch the most in right now? Is it finding the right people? Is it keeping up with the admin and compliance? Or is it just not having enough hours in the day to take on new opportunities, or even step back and think about the bigger picture? Maybe you're like a lot of business owners I talk to, working flat out, but still feeling like you're just treading water. If you're honest with yourself, what's the one thing that's holding you back from making a change? Just take a second to think about that, because the rest of what I'll share today is all about how to break that cycle. So what's the alternative? The answer isn't just to work harder or keep hiring more people locally and hope things settle down. It's about building a team that's flexible and scalable, one that combines the strengths of your local people with the support of skilled offshore staff. You don't have to overhaul everything overnight. The best results come from starting just small, Maybe there's just one or two tasks or roles. Then systemize your process so that things run smoothly and scaling up as you get more comfortable. Imagine being able to add capacity when you need it without adding more stress or overhead. That's what I want to show you today. I'll walk you through some real examples and give you practical steps you can use straight away so you can get your time back, keep your clients happy, and actually enjoy running your business again. Let me give you a bit about my background because I didn't start out in business at all. I was actually a plumber for about 10 years with no business experience. After a decade on the tools, I needed a change and started working in my parents' labour hire business. After a couple of years, I bought it off them, still very green when it came to running a business. We supply casual labour to the warehouse industry, and in those early days, it was just me and one other team member. Margins are tight in that industry, and the biggest pain was the after hours phones, getting woken up at 5 a.m, taking calls, people calling in sick, having to deal with clients, replacing shifts, all that kind of stuff. We swapped them within the office and we just got sick of it after a really long time. That was the first real pain point. We're like, we need a change. And that's where we found offshoring. We brought on our first offshore team member to take those morning phones, do a bit of recruiting in the day when we started. That worked so well that 12 months later, we had 3 people offshore, 2 people running the recruitment and allocation side of things, and 1 bookkeeper in the business running everything basically. I promoted my local team member to operations manager, and he took over managing the offshore team and client relationships. Everything right the first time, but each time we refined our approach and handed over another process. It freed up more and more of my time. Bit by bit, I was able to step back from the day-to-day. Now my ops manager and 3 offshore team members handle a national roster of over 400 casual staff. And I only spend about 3 to 5 hours a week in that business. That's what gave me the freedom to start ROVR Outsourcing, so I could help other businesses do the same thing, using all the lessons I've learned along the way. Here's the simple framework we use for my own business and with our clients. Don't try and overhaul every process at once. Pick one process, maybe it's payroll, data entry, or chasing receipts, and delegate just that first. As you hand over that task, make sure it's documented. Most people get stuck here thinking they need to write a big SOPs for everything, but here's the shortcut. Just record yourself doing the task using Loom. If you haven't heard of Loom, it's a screen recording software you talk over while you do the tasks. It's a lifesaver when coming to training and systemizing your business. In the Loom, you talk through what you're doing, explaining each step, and send the video to your new offshore team member. And here's where it gets even easier. Your VA can actually turn those Loom videos into step-by-step guides or SOPs for you, building out your business playbook as they go. That way, you're not stuck writing documents. You're just showing them how you want things done, and your offshore team does the rest. Every time a new task comes up, repeat the process. Record a Loom, hand it off, and let your team build the documentation as they go. Before your new VA even starts, we get them to watch all the Loom videos for the tasks they'll be doing multiple times. By the time they actually start, they're already about 70% of the way there. And as they're doing the task for the first time, they can have the Loom open on one screen playing while they're doing the actual task on the other. That means you're guiding them step by step without having to be there in person. This is what makes it so scalable. You can bring on new people. They can learn directly from your playbook, not from you having to repeat yourself. If you record your process up front, you can train 5, 10, or 20 people exactly the same way. And you never have to run another hour-long training session. And the best part, Loom's AI can even turn your video into an SOP, so you don't have to write a thing. So what does this actually look like once you start? The first thing you'll notice is how much lighter your week feels. You're not answering the same questions over and over or having to train every new person from scratch. The best part is this system works for everyone, offshore and onshore. Whether someone's sitting in your office or working remotely, they can get up to speed quickly because the playbook is right there. As you add new people, you're not reinventing the wheel. You just point them to the Loom videos and the SOPs and they're off and running. Everyone following the same process, no matter where they are. I've seen companies go from dreading onboarding to actually looking forward to it because it's so much smoother and more consistent. Let me give you a quick real world example. Not long ago, we had to onboard a new team member for our labour hire business. While my ops manager and I were actually in another state on the road seeing clients, we'd been let down the last minute and needed someone up to speed fast. Because we'd already set up our onboarding and Loom training, we just sent them all the links while we were traveling before we'd ever met him in person. He was already ringing resumes and booking interviews. It wasn't a perfect scenario, but because the systems were in place, we didn't miss a beat. In a high volume business like ours, that meant we kept our interview schedule on track, even in a pinch. That's the beauty of having these systems. When things change, or you need to ramp up fast, you're ready to go without chaos or burnout. So far, we've talked about setting up systems for your regular day-to-day business, but this approach isn't just about routine stuff. It works just as well for the one-off ad hoc jobs that pop up during the year. Let me give you a real-world example from my own business, just to show you how simple and effective this can be. Every year, the award rates go up for the Storage Services Award. And in the past, I've spent the whole day working through the new rates, updating spreadsheets, working on formulas, making sure that everything is right for each client. Here's what I do now. I work out exactly how I want the task done, including any formulas or spreadsheet steps. I record myself doing it once, just a simple Loom video talking through each step and showing where to save the files and how to tick off the task. I send that video to my bookkeeper and she can then complete the task for all of our clients, and much quicker than I would be able to. What used to take me a full day and probably a little bit more, now takes me about 45 minutes to record and hand over. For quality, I have another person in my business just checking some random files, just double checking it all works. And then myself, I will do that as well. Just check a couple of random ones, just double checking the formulas are working, everything's where it needs to be. And the best part is once you've got systems like this, you can use it for all sorts of ad hoc or recurring tasks, not just the big ones. It frees up your time and keeps things running smoothly, even when something new pops up. Let's talk about how the best teams are set up these days. This isn't about replacing your local staff, it's about getting the right mix, so everyone's playing to their strengths. Your local people are brilliant at client relationships, advisory work, and anything else that really needs local knowledge or a personal touch. Offshore team members are perfect for the repetitive, process-driven work. Admin, reconciliations, chasing receipts, formatting reports, the things that keep everything ticking over, but you don't need to be done in person. When you get the balance right, your local team is freed up to focus on high-value work, and your offshore team keeps things running smoothly in the background. I've seen businesses start with offshore admin support, and as they grew, they were able to bring on a local client manager because the day-to-day was already handled. So have a think. Where could offshore support free up your local team to do more of what they're best at? That's where you get the real lift, not just in productivity, but in job satisfaction and client service too. There are a few big questions that always come up with outsourcing, so let's tackle them head on. Quality of work. The most important thing is working with a partner who takes the time to really understand what you need and then matches the work with the right talent. There's no skill drop-off between Australia and the Philippines. It's all about finding the right fit for your business, not just filling a seat. Communication. Will they understand your business? The best results come when you find people with the right experience and invest in a bit of time upfront. Not just in onboarding and training, but in making them feel a part of your team. Systems and SOPs make it easy to get them up to speed on the work, but it's the personal connection, inviting them to meetings, encouraging questions, and sharing your business values that really helps them hit the ground running and feel like they belong. A good partner will guide you through both, setting up the right systems and building that team connection, so your new hire is productive and engaged from day one. Data security. This is a big one, especially in this industry. The best outsourcing partners operate to Australian privacy standards, and we at ROVR are working towards the ISO data security certification. So your client data is protected at the same level you'd expect locally. If you want to dig into the details, I'm always happy to talk through that, exactly how it works. Losing control. It's a common worry, but with the right setup, you're not handing over the reins, you're actually gaining support. A good BPO partner works alongside you to help manage and support your offshore staff. So you're both focused on making sure the work gets done to your standards. The right team fit. Getting the right fit isn't just about skills, it's about making sure the person matches your team's way of working. The best results come from a recruitment process that looks at both experience and attitude. It is also a must from a business aspect to make the effort to include your offshore team in meetings and day-to-day conversations so they feel a part of the process. If you've got any other concerns about quality, security, or just how it all works, don't hesitate to reach out after this session. I'm always happy to talk it through. But if something pops up while you're watching, just drop a comment in the chat and I'll be here live and happy to answer any questions as we go. Let's look at how this model actually works in a real business. One of our first clients is a real estate business we've worked with for a while. They've started out with just one offshore team member to help with admin and a bit of back office work. Over time, as they built out their systems and got more comfortable, they've moved to a one-to-one model. So now every local team member has their own offshore VA. What's really interesting is that now, instead of having a team of maybe 11 if they'd hired only locally, They've now got a team of 16 people in the business, 8 offshore, 8 onshore, all focused on moving the business forward. Their sales team, for example, can spend almost all their time on selling and building client relationships because of the contracts, paperwork, and email correspondence are handled by their VA. The results, more capacity, faster turnarounds, and a team that actually excited to take on more work because they're not bogged down in admin. And here's an easier way to think about it. You don't have to go straight to the one-to-one model. Even if you just look across the business and group together all the lower value repetitive tasks, then hand those to one offshore team member, you can make a massive difference, freeing up those hours. And even if it's just 12 hours a week from a few people, is adding up to a full-time role worth of capacity without the full-time cost. That's how you start to move the business forward without stretching your local team any thinner. And this isn't just something that works in real estate. We're seeing the same approach starting to take off with one of our bookkeeping clients right now. They're starting out with their first VA. They've got 6 local team members. Their goal is to eventually have a one-to-one setup. So each local team member has their own offshore support. The offshore team will handle the repetitive admin, freeing up the local bookkeeper to spend more time with clients and focus on the higher value work. Even though it's early days, they're already seeing faster turnaround times, less stress, and a happier team. It's great to see how quickly things can shift when you get the right systems in place, even if you're just starting out. Let me show you a rule of thumb I use in my own businesses. It's a really handy way to spot where your team's time is getting tied up and where you can make the biggest impact. A good benchmark for any growing business is that every team member should be bringing in at least 3 times their salary in value to the business. If someone isn't reaching that, it's usually because their time is tied up in necessary but lower value work. Things that need to get done but don't really drive growth. Outsourcing is a way to handle those essential repetitive tasks more efficiently, so your local team can focus on the work that actually grows the business and helps you hit that 3 times target. The best way to spot these opportunities is to break down your week, look at these tasks and ask, does this help us reach the 3 times multiple on our hourly rate? If not, that's a great candidate to delegate offshore and free up your team for higher value work. So if you're aiming for that 3 times salary benchmark, the first thing to look at is how much of your week is actually spent on lower value repetitive work. And I don't just mean admin, thinking about all the bookkeeping tasks that are important but don't really need your expertise. Chasing receipts, data entry, reconciliations, formatting reports, following up on clients, and missing info. So let's put some numbers to it. I'll take you through our time audit calculator we built with an example, and you can grab a copy at the end to run your own numbers. So say you're taking $100,000 in salary from your business. Now estimate how many hours a week you spend on those repetitive or lower value tasks. Maybe it's 10 or 12 hours. This example is 28 hours a week. If you think of something that's not listed, just add it in when you try yourself later. The more accurate you are, the more useful the results will be. Here's what the calculator shows. At $100,000 salary, your 3 times target is about $144 an hour in revenue. You might not hit that every single hour, but thinking this way helps you see where your time is best spent. Even things like spending more time with clients. While it's not always billable, you can lead to longer client relationships and more value over time. For comparison, let's say an offshore hire costs you around $15 an hour for a mid-level person. Every hour you spend on these lower value tasks is costing you about $129 an hour in potential revenue. Add that up over a week, a year, or 3 years, and it's a huge number. In this example, it's over $500,000 in missed revenue over the 3 years, just from 28 hours a week of repetitive work. So instead of asking, can I afford to do this right now? It's really a question of, can I afford not to? One of the biggest differences with our approach is flexibility, especially when it comes to part-time roles. A lot of the big agencies out there only want to place full-time staff, and that just doesn't suit every business. With us, you can start with exactly what you need. Maybe that's just a part-time role or a handful of hours a week, focused on the tasks that are slowing you down. You don't need to have every process mapped out or a huge workload ready to go. Most of our clients start by recruiting for the person they want long-term, but begin with a few small repetitive tasks to get them up to speed. Whether you're looking for someone junior to take off the basics off your plate or someone experienced who can work independently, we'll help you find the right fit and let you scale up at your own pace. So what's the easiest win you could delegate this month? Put that in the chat and I'd love to hear about it. The key is you don't have to fit into someone else's box. You can build the support you need in the way that works for you. Before we wrap up, just take a second to picture what your business could look like in a year from now if you start making these changes today. Imagine your team with more breathing room, your clients getting faster, more consistent service, and you having more time to focus on what matters most. Maybe even a bit more time for yourself. If that sounds good, here's how you can get started. If you want to take the next step, we've made it simple. Scan the first QR code to grab your free resource pack, templates, checklists, and our time audit calculator to help you spot your biggest wins. Or if you prefer to talk it through, use the second QR code to book a quick chat. We'll go over your goals and see if this could work for your business. Either way, you'll walk away with something useful. I won't go over the nuts and bolts of how we operate. You get the idea by now. We've covered a lot today. If you want to start 2026 with less stress and more capacity, now's a good time to get things going. It takes about a month to find and onboard the right person, so we can have everything ready for you to hit the ground running after the holidays. If you're curious, let's have a chat and see what's possible. Just to wrap up, I want to leave you with one simple thought. You don't have to do it all yourself. With the right support, you can grow your business, take some pressure off, and maybe even get a bit more breathing room in your week. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. I hope you're leaving with a new idea or two. And if you want to make 2026 your best year yet, you know where to find me. Enjoy the rest of the summit, and thanks again for having me.